And the Xbox Now podcast is live in the pre-show. This is pre-show. Pre-show's live. I don't know I don't know what questions to ask you right now that I'm not going to ask again once the show starts.
No free content. That's right. That's right. Oh man, if I had to ask you one question off the top of my head, are you a cake or a pie person? Oh, that question sucked, but you got to answer it anyway.
Cake or pie? I'd probably say cake.
Word.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good for our dynamic. I don't understand the pie people, although they are vocal. So watch out.
Like when I eat pumpkin pie, it's so covered in whipped cream, you don't know that it's pie. It's just the triangle shape of whipped cream.
That is
so
amazing.
Yeah. So other than that, I'm not a big fan of like fruit pies. Like cooked smush, like mushy fruit just really doesn't do a lot for me.
It's not your jam.
That was a dad joke right there. Like you just nailed a dad joke, I think, on accident. So good one.
I did it.
Smushy fruit. Smushy fruit. It's not your jam. Wow.
I'm both proud and ashamed.
Yeah.
To be in this conversation right now. Yeah. Oh man. But you've been pedal to the metal recently. Are you excited to sit down and talk about Xbox? E3 is it's right around the corner. Jeez Louise.
Yeah. Yes, I am. And next week we should probably just do like a predictions show.
Yep. I'm full of them. You know, I think I predict that PlayStation Now is going to be on Xbox. Big news there. That's going to be announced. Everyone knows it. So mark your calendars. Big predictions coming up. That'll be my first one. Sneak peek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Tweet is out. All right. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yo, I see Nate. And I see
Nate.
I see Chris. What's up? Good to see you guys. All right. Let's do this thing. Here we go. It's the Xbox Now podcast. I'm your host, Josh Schmidt. Andy, what is going on? How are you?
I'm great. Good to see you, Josh. Happy morning. Glad to be here with you. The morning show, always a blast.
Always a blast. So, Andy, tell me why Halo 2 is the best game in the series.
Because it's a fact. I don't know. It consumed hundreds of hours of my life. Incredible story. We've got an amazing cliffhanger. Incredible finish this fight. Multiplayer. Incredible maps. Balance. Gives me goosebumps. So yeah, that's it. And if you don't like it, don't leave. Stick with it.
So I actually didn't know Halo 2 was your jam. I was just trying to, trying to trip you up there, but apparently I failed horribly.
Yeah. I saw that bus coming and I just got on.
Yeah, you did.
Sidestep. That's right.
You really did. So let's jump into this. We are going to learn all about Battlefield, the new Battlefield. How do they number these anymore? It like went from Battlefield 1 to like 5 when I was like, where'd the other ones go? You know, like, they calling this one 6? Is this Battlefield 6?
I think so. They got too clever for themselves when they went back to World War II. They're like, check it out. Battlefield 5, Roman numeral V, Victory Day.
Right.
And everyone's like, you idiot. Just do better.
They've named their games, you know, almost as good as Xbox has done with their with naming their consoles. So
I don't know if you can take that away from Xbox. Reigning champs.
So this is kind of exciting for me. My first E3 is when they revealed Battlefield 1, and I got to play it in the, you know, like in the EA Play area with a bunch of people. I proceeded to machine gun one guy while his buddy was shooting at me, and then he didn't kill me. My clip ran out, so then I pistoled him and then proceeded to go teabag him. And the EA folks that were running the booth were like, "Yo, did you just teabag that guy?" I was like, "Did you see that I just killed him with a pistol? He deserved it, you know?" So I'm excited. This gets me, like, it almost hits me a little bit in the nostalgia feels, because getting Battlefield news right before E3 or during E3 kind of takes me back a little bit. So I'm excited for this one. You know, what are we going to see? You put up a good question. Like, is this, you know, you got COD versus Battlefield. Like, what do you think is going to be the situation here with, is this going to give COD a run for its money? Is this going to be the game that helps COD step up their game? Because it feels like COD's kind of been lacking a little bit in the past, past few games. And with Warzone, it's like they're not really innovating much. They're not really adding too much. It's just kind of a little bit more of the same. So,
yeah, I mean, me personally, and this is, you don't even have to throw me under this bus. I'm a Battlefield player, and so I'm incredibly jealous that you got to play on EA Play's floor, and I wished I could have been there to see the teabagging. But I think that, frankly, when you think about Battlefield in comparison to COD, it is a completely different game. Now you've got more of the strategic end, and I think it used to be lockstep. Battlefield and Call of Duty walking in every fall season, and it was kind of a competitive step, who would bring the newest innovation. And I feel like DICE had always focused on bringing in destructible environments, squad-based, larger multiplayer. And then you've got Call of Duty that has its formula of 2 or 3 lane maps, a ton of really solid gameplay, and it allows you to play solo. And so I was really happy to see them take at least a year off. Moving from, I enjoyed Battlefield 1. I think it was a great game. They moved to 5. They had a lot of technical issues. And so what I'm hoping to see is kind of a really stable look at what it looks like for multiplayer. I'm curious if they're going to go for campaign, back to the vignettes. Personally, that didn't grab me. I loved it when we were back in Bad Company. I think that was a lot of fun. And so I think that they need to come out and they have something to prove, because I think as much as Call of Duty feels like they've got Warzone now, and so they tried to do Firestorm in the Battle Royale. I'm just wondering what's going to keep a captive audience and keep streamers coming back. And stability comes to mind. Great gameplay. I mean, where are you in terms of the hype meter? It sounds like we're both on the Battlefield level, but what do they have to do to succeed here?
The thing that I'm the most curious about is the battle royale aspect. If is there one, or are they gonna keep? I've kind of fallen off with Battlefield. I haven't. I've kind of been out of it. I play a little bit of 5, I believe, but not much. And so I'm excited to jump back into this series. I've always enjoyed it. I really love the Battlefront series, which they play very similar. It's just one's got Star Wars skin, right? And so it feels like the natural progression for any shooter nowadays is like campaign, competitive multiplayer, and battle royale. And so what can they do here that is going to keep people engaged and interested? And we've got Apex for our B-roll today, and I think they could take a few pages out of the Apex book and maybe a few less pages out of the Warzone book. For me personally, I want to be playing my game as much as possible. So that means let's not do 250 people and having to wait for those load times, because that is, you spend more time in loading screens with Warzone sometimes than you do playing. And so like Apex, even though, you may die off the rip, you're back in your next game just so fast. And that's for me, that's where battle royales really succeed, is when I can just be playing a lot, whether I'm having a great game or having a terrible game. And so that's one major thing there. The other thing is Battlefield has always been known for its vehicles, right? And I feel like vehicles have kind of taken the back seat in a lot of the battle royales, because it's kind of, I think it can be a little difficult to balance them. I know, like, I saw recently Dr. Disrespect was like, get the Bertha out of Warzone, right? Because it's almost like the Bertha meta with driving around that giant truck. But what about tanks and planes? The some of the things that have always made Battlefield like Battlefield. Is that something we could see in and I know very little like about, what was it called, Firestorm? Like I was just Googling it right here just to see what was up with it. But and it looked like it was a 64 player BR, which again, I think 100 or less is kind of that sweet spot, just to keep your players in game and spending less time in loading screens.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think that's a great gameplay. I'm looking at chat, and I have to side with these guys. It's always been bigger is better with Battlefield. And so as much as I think it would be in their best interest to slim it down, I think that they've always been a large player count. And so it stuns me, because I feel like every couple of months I re-download 5 and I want to hop in and see, hey, have they fixed this for Firestorm? And it would be really interesting to me. I think Leo in the chat was like, I'm interested to see if they bring Firestorm back. I hope not. I think that doesn't have any brand equity. And if you do know Firestorm, you know it as maybe outside of that concentrated fan base that actually continues to play. You just know it as the Battle Royale that came 6 months later that didn't get to compete in kind of when all the other Battle Royales were dropping. And then it was a bad experience. Talk about big load times. And so I hope on the server side, they can organize something. I think Battlefield in general, I've always enjoyed the gameplay a lot more. It's just a little bit more nuanced. It's not so many lanes and kind of funnels where you're just going to automatically get kills. It's a lot more strategic. So if they can come in and make sure that this game is solid from a matchmaking perspective, a load time perspective, but that's all hardware. And I've never seen Battlefield be able to do it well. I think the last time was maybe Bad Company 2 that I felt like, oh, this was on par with everyone else. So it'll be interesting to see if they can clear that up, because as much of the graphic fidelity and the destruction and great team dynamics and fun maps and vehicles, if it doesn't all come together in that tight package like a Call of Duty does, the public consciousness for first person shooters is just looking for in out, like you're talking about Apex. I want to be playing Warzone. It's a little bit longer, but you can just keep playing match after match. And so, yeah, I hope they come back with a new battle royale experience that is slick. They can drop Firestorm. I don't think that's going to do anything for them. I doubt they will. But I'm curious, Josh, if you've seen on Twitter some of these the cheeky back and forth between Battlefield and Game Pass. I think it was boom and soon, and now June rhymes with soon, and speculation that Battlefield might be coming into Game Pass. Do you believe this? Like, is there any, in your mind, any validity to that kind of rumor mill?
So I want to backtrack a little bit before we get there, because the quick answer for Game Pass is I think yes. I think Xbox is doing everything they can to get people to sign up for Game Pass, and I think they've been playing nice with EA for a while, so it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me at all to see that. I do like what you guys are saying, though, about how initially, Battlefield's been known for the massive scale, right? The big maps, and so I'll backtrack a little bit and say, sure, I just want if it goes that way, I just want there to be a way that it's like, you spend, maybe they do respawns a little bit differently than Warzone. There's just, I want to be able to stay in the game longer, right? Like that's, and I mean, if you Battlefield's old original playstyle with the tickets, that I wonder if you could see if somehow they incorporate that into it to where, like, I don't know exactly how they'd work it, but I want to see how they innovate on the battle royale, right? And how they can change things up, because right now the large scale battle royale that is Warzone has really gotten stale. So there's a great opportunity for them to jump in and do something to freshen things up. And I think that's going to be, I think that could be really good. Nate in chat did want to know if they were going to release Titanfall 3 right before Battlefield, just so that it can get stepped on again like Titanfall 2. So great question. But yeah, getting back to Game Pass, I would be very surprised if it wasn't on Game Pass. That's kind of where I'm at. I really think that this is yet another game that Xbox gets it on Game Pass. It's gonna be a big win, and so I'm fairly certain it'll be there. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I feel like taking a year off with Battlefields to come in and step into the competitive arena was good from a development perspective. Hopefully we can see everything tightened up. But I do think that as much as Warzone is feeling a little stale right now, it is a behemoth, right? It has combined what I think was always the struggle for Call of Duty. If you have the competitive multiplayer, that was a place where it was very much, if you run in to any of these choke points, based on how it spawns you, you're going to get kills, you're going to see the numbers go up, you're going to have the dopamine spikes. And it didn't have a ton of teamwork or strategy that always landed in the Battlefield side of things, like having dedicated roles, playing as a team, objective games, and the time to kill being a little bit longer. And then I feel like they introduced the huge player base of Call of Duty to the more strategic side of things with Warzone. And so I think that was something that kept those two camps apart. And so now when we have Battlefield coming into its next iteration, there's a new player base that has been exposed to all this strategy. So I think that for Game Pass, it's a must. They have an uphill battle to climb against something like this. They have to have learned their lessons from launching Firestorm late, and so now is the time for them to get an install base quickly. And I think Game Pass is a perfect vehicle. And I think you said it perfectly. Microsoft and EA have been playing really nicely together. And so if they can have that tight experience, I don't even know that they need to innovate. I think that introducing the group of people that have been dominating in Warzone and open their eyes to the idea of strategy will slot really nicely into the level of granularity that Battlefield brings with different classes, weapons upgrades, vehicles, and destruction will add a whole nother layer. And I think they can be competitive. So I'm stoked. Again, if you have to wait, if the load times are bad, it's not gonna fly. But if you get it in Game Pass for free, some of that might be forgiven. And as we've seen with almost every other game that launches into Game Pass that's third party, it's successful across all platforms. Overall, the adoption, even if it's not with Microsoft or Xbox, it still hits on Steam, hits on the other platforms. So I think it would be a big missed opportunity if they don't. But I can't wait for the 9th to see what they have for the reveal in advance. And maybe we'll see something at Xbox's stage a little bit deeper after the reveal in E3. I can only cross my fingers because I can't wait.
Yeah, it's gonna be an exciting month, honestly, right? I mean, June, if you're a gamer, is always gonna be an exciting month. So, looking forward to it for sure. Let's head on over to the rumor mill and talk about Windows Central posted some Obsidian rumors, right? Maybe we're gonna see some Avowed. Maybe we're gonna see an Outer Worlds 2 announcement. That would be interesting. Have you played Outer Worlds? Is it would you be excited to see an Outer Worlds 2 announcement at E3?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm in the camp. I love the Fallout series. I loved Obsidian's take on it with New Vegas. I hope people in the chat are on the same page. New Vegas is one of my favorites. I don't know that that's a unusual opinion, but it's mine. And playing the Outer Worlds was an amazing take on, and I mean this in a complimentary way, but Fallout in space. It had that same kind of, the storytelling, the characters, the world that they built was great. It was really nice to play it on the Series X and see the frame rates boosted up so it played more smoothly. I think it was such a good test bed for a new IP. And personally, as a gamer growing up playing RPGs, I used to crave the 100+ hour experiences. And frankly, I didn't think I would be, but I was refreshed by the shorter gameplay and some of that replayability. I actually finished the whole thing. Whether it's Fallout or it's Elder Scrolls, I'm the person who does every single side quest, becomes the master of every clan, and probably gets like 3 missions into the main storyline. Yeah. And so to be able to finish a game was delightful. And so I would love to see them back that IP and give it a chance to add some. I don't feel like the game mechanics were bad, but they didn't feel AAA. And so I would love to see them now with that proven IP that was it Take-Two that was publishing previously, and now is moved under Xbox's banner. I believe that's correct. So kind of getting the full support moving forward. I would love to see it. What about you? Did you get to play through? Did you enjoy the title if you did?
So yeah, it was Private Division, which is part of Take-Two, and then I've played a little bit, but on the Switch, right, which was not the ideal platform, but because it's what I was covering at the time, that's why I did it. The little bit that I played, I'm like, man, I could tell I could get totally hooked into this game. Like no question. I could get completely hooked, but I want to play it on the Series X. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm ready to play those. I'm at the point where I'm ready to play these games where they should be played. You know, it's great that they can be on the Switch and they're available to more people, but I'm ready to see it at the best frame rate and the most the highest resolution. And so it seemed like the game seemed like Skyrim in space, right? Because I haven't played any Fallout games, so I was kind of all in, and even seeing these rumors today, we have everybody has such a massive backlog at this point, right? So, but I'm like, man, this is really and it seems I'm noticing as sequels get announced, as gamers, we have a tendency to jump back into the first game. Or if the third game's coming out, we'll jump back into the second just to see especially if we haven't finished them up. It's like, I really need to. It's a good motivator to get in and check out the first game. And then hearing you say that it's that they are a shorter game, that's even more appealing. It's just something that I could probably get through relatively quick. So I'm interested to see. Interested to know what we are going to find out at E3, and if this, I think that could be a pretty big reveal for Xbox, and I think a lot of people will be pretty excited. Moving.
Yeah.
Oh, you there? Okay, cut out for a sec. Like it looked like you froze. I was like, we lost him. Okay, there he's back. He's back. So. The last thing that I have, I was just scrolling Reddit last night after I got done working, and I was like, happened to see the Crysis Trilogy trailer, and it's interesting to see that Crysis keeps showing back up. Right now, one thing to keep in mind. Even with as much power as the Series X and the Series S have, these games are still not going to be running at ultra settings because it's Crysis, and I think it maybe by 2040 there might be a machine that's capable of running Crysis at ultra settings, but it's going to be don't get your hopes up yet. But the teaser looks good. The game. You could see. I mean, it's a dated shooter, right? It's definitely it's definitely dated. But I mean, I remember playing. I played a lot of Crysis on the 360. I can't remember if it was 2 or 3, but the multiplayer was pretty good. It wasn't. It's one of those games that the controls are tight. The gunplay's good, but when you get into multiplayer, I don't know what it is, but it's just it was good, not great, But they're really showcasing the campaign, and I think that's really where these games seem to. That's really where they excel, right? And so, just the different missions where you can cloak and the different powers that your suit has. It's been, I don't even know that I've ever played through the first Crysis, so it might be a good opportunity for me to finally check out this entire series. But my question is this the precursor to something else? Is a new Crysis game in the works? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's just where the industry is going, right? As we're looking, whether it's establishing new IPs, a lot of these big studios and publishers are looking back at their back catalog. I think the Legendary Edition of Mass Effect is a great signpost to look at. They released an amazing remaster. I'm so deep, finally into Mass Effect 3 right now. Chad, if you're there with me, no spoilers. I love that series. I never made it fully to the end because of all the backlash for the ending. I think I have a save file from back in 2012 that's like just hours before the end. So it's been fun to play through. But I do think that looking at IP, I think Crysis is begging to be either remade or I don't see, for me personally, and there might be a vocal majority or minority out there that like the story. At the time, it was just an amazing display of capability on the PC. I actually built my first PC in 2007 to run Crysis on Ultra. And so it was mind-boggling, the stealth, the movement. I just remember like the destructibility, being able to shoot the gas tank on the back of enemy vehicles and blowing them up. It blew my mind. Is it relevant now? Maybe. I never thought that the story was that great. I did enjoy the multiplayer. And so I think it's a good time if you haven't gone all the way through. I don't know that it holds a candle to the type of nostalgia that a Mass Effect or a Dead Space or a Dragon Age, these games that could go back and be remade, will have. But just like Mass Effect, they have a new title out there that they're working on and incubating. I think that that world could be done in such a cool way. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they've been working on. Now, this is the release window is this fall, correct?
It is, yes.
Yeah, so I don't know that we would see anything, even like a logo or anything for E3. I think that this fall would be a good primer, and they could see what the market's looking like, and maybe next E3 or just a tease as they're dropping the game to get everyone excited about it, a new tech demo. But given with what's been going on with COVID and relatively quiet in the room mill on this one, I don't know that we'd see anything soon, but I would be there for it for sure.
Yeah, I'm not anticipating any kind of an announcement even soon, but it just I feel like it's a play just to keep Crysis on people's minds, right? And then possibly it may be one of these. I mean, because I'm assuming that doing these remasters and stuff probably doesn't cost a ton of money, right? But then there can be some good ROI, but then possibly just some market research just to kind of see like how many people are picking these up. Is Crysis 4 something that we should something that we should put out? I'm doing just a little bit of quick Google in here, and it says they're like Crysis 4 news and interviews, and it says, according to, I'm probably gonna mess this guy's name up, but Savat Yearly, the fourth part will have a new storyline. This is from April 5th, 2021. We'll have a new storyline. He claims that in spite of the fact that the plot and the story of the Prophet come to an end in the third part, Crysis 4 will start a new story. So it sounds like it is something that is in, that is in the works to some degree.
Yeah, at least in pre-production, right? The idea is there. So it's exciting, and I would love to see a title like that take advantage of new hardware and technology, because that early on, back in 2007, kind of the destructibility of the environment and the physics engine, if they could come back with a stronger story to get people invested, and then have that tech, and I don't have any doubts because that engine is amazing, I would be there for it. But I like what you said about this being a test bed, right? Release the remasters, see how it's doing, to inform that new project.
And like we were talking about at the beginning of the show with Battlefield, what about a Crysis BR?
Oof.
With the suits and everything, I mean, it would It would be different.
It would be. I I battle with battle royale fatigue.
Fatigue.
You know,
No, I get it.
yes.
I get it.
There's so many, and they're doing it so well. I'm holding out that there's a good battlefield BR, and then I can just live in it for the rest of my life, and I don't need to worry about anything else. And people will stop making them until the demand goes up, because these persistent. It's just there's got to be a new game type. How long can it last? I don't know. Fortnite has proven that it can stay relevant for a really long time. I'm excited, but I mean, not to end on a down note. I think Crysis would be a really rad look at VR. If it could be smaller, I think we both agree on that trend. But it's an ability to team up or even solo, because you kind of a one-man army in that game, would be a ton of fun.
Nate in chat is saying, look at Josh just asking for more battle passes.
Just begging for it. You want that. That's true.
All right. Well, hey, that is going to wrap up this episode, the Xbox Now podcast. Andy, tell everybody where they can find you.
Find me on Twitter, chat. You're beautiful. Everyone who's checking us out. I'm at AYE. My name is Andy. My name is Andy. And I want to also shout out, before I hand it over to you to close us out, happy Pride Month, everyone. And, you know, if you're there with me, great. It's a good time to bring awareness to a community that's been marginalized, and to celebrate people who are different than you. So happy Pride Month. And you can find me on Twitter. Chat, you're gorgeous. I love you.
Guys, you can find me everywhere at N64Josh, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye now.